We are here to talk about all the different ways you can learn and engage with futures thinking and foresight at the Institute for the Future. So Institute for the Future is a nonprofit organization. We're based in Palo Alto, California. And for the past 55 years, this year, we think we're the longest running independent futures research and education institute. And we work with all different kinds of organizations, public sector, private sector, individuals, just helping people understand how the future could be different and what you can do to build the futures that you want to build. Let me get my screen. Actually, I'm not going to get my screen quite up. And over the past 7 years or so, we've been really working on growing our different foresight training curricula. I'm joined today by my colleague, Sarah Skaversky, who is our lead instructor for our Foresight Essentials program. And we are just here to tell you about all the different things that we do. We have an amazing community of global foresight practitioners. We have a very deep pool of events and resources and webinars and online community. And we have monthly meetups. So I want to tell you a little bit about what it's like to take a class with IFTF. We have an amazing set of faculty from all over the world, and you'll be working with people who are seasoned practitioners. This is kind of a typical example of a set of practitioners teaching one class where we have people who are working on the futures of belonging, people who are working on technology futures, futures of learning. So they're all people who are working with in the field as well as teaching. This, of course, is an online example of a class. We do both in person and online. And you'll be joined by a really incredible group of global learners. So we're so lucky. One of the things that we've been able to do with our online classes is expand to a much wider audience of people. You can expect people from super diverse backgrounds. The last class I taught, we had people from 10 different countries. We had people like a director of innovation from a US education nonprofit thinking about the future of learning. We had a designer from a large US tech company working on the future of news. We had someone from a women's leadership NGO in Malawi. We had an engineer from a material science company in the US, and we had someone from a large European university. We have just all different kinds of people in the class and a really interesting mix of for-profit, education, government agencies, and nonprofit groups, philanthropies. You can also, in the online classes, you can look forward to exploring sort of the latest in learning tools and environments. We are always experimenting with new platforms. That's kind of a double count. From the class. We like to use tools like Miro, and really the classes focus on making your foresight actionable. So trying out different kinds of tools that you can immediately apply in your own practice. Here's one tool that we like to use in our Foresight Essentials class, our flagship class, called Design Your Practice, just as an example. This tool helps you think through all the trade-offs in designing and defining your own professional foresight practice. All of our classes do end with a certificate of completion. And I'm going to turn it over to Sarah now, I think, to give us an overview of the classes themselves. Please do ask questions as we go along.
Yes, so we have a really robust training portfolio that we have, and there are things that are offered for individuals, which we'll be going through in just a second, for Foresight Essentials, Design Futures, Scenario Building, 3 Horizons of AI, and Futures Thinking on Coursera. I'm saying it very quickly because we're going to talk through all of those. And so those are, if you're an individual, you can work within an organization, be an independent contractor, and just join one of our open enrollment classes. But sometimes we have teams that want to create something a little more customized. They have a group of people that they want to take through this process. And so we also design custom trainings for folks and what we call future back accelerators, which are really large scale, getting leadership and budding leadership ready to supercharge and superpower their work with foresight. So this is what we're going to walk through right now. And I want to kick us off with what is our flagship course, Foresight Essentials. And this course equips people with really the foundational knowledge that any foresight professional and foresight practitioner needs, professional or just budding, right? It also provides you with a process for successfully completing foresight projects in organizations or for organizations. So in the class, we cover the building blocks for strategic foresight, such as how to find and interpret drivers and signals of change. We talk about creating alternative future forecasts and stories in lots of different forms. We have lots of different forecasting tools. We talk about how to use the forecast to provoke impactful insight, bringing it down to you. Say, what does this really mean for me, for my community, for my organization? And then we also help you think about how do we frame up actions to take today, because that's the point of doing strategic foresight. It's to consider the future and make better decisions today. As part of the class, we'll also help you develop a detailed project plan for applying the tools and methods that you've learned in real life. So you'll be ready to hit the ground running when you leave this class. People do projects that are really diverse. It could be creating a forecast for their community organization. It could be designing a new workshop process, building a signals gathering community. And throughout the course, you're going to have a chance to interact with your experienced IFTF faculty on tap with their deep expertise. So you'll have one-on-one office hours, lots of chances to connect. The class is taught in 6 sessions if it's digital for about 22 hours of instruction and additional time to practice in between, or in person as an intensive 3-day, which is really fun. I just finished one up. So on the next slide, you'll see a glimpse of the 22 tools that make up our toolkit. You're going to be introduced to all of these tools in some way, shape, or form during the course of the class. You'll also hear lectures on the foresight mindset, different approaches and aspects of being a foresight practitioner. And again, you'll have a chance to have one-on-ones with faculty. So this class is for you if you're serious about adding foresight and futures thinking to your professional practice. It's also if you already have a foresight role and a practice and you want a few more systematic frameworks to really help you think through and maybe make your practice even more robust. So we are very excited, hoping that you all will join us for one of these classes. It's really always so fun to see where people take these tools, this mindset, and head to. Now, our next class is our IFTF Design Futures. So we all know the power of design. I saw that we have somebody interested in design here in the chat, and how design can really help us unlock emotional connections, right? This course is going to help you learn how to take your audience on a trip through time, basically how to help them feel the futures that you're envisioning. You want to turn what can sometimes be sort of abstract futures research into really a full mind, full bodied experience. So throughout the course, you're going to get a chance to learn and practice with our hands-on methods and tools that bridge design thinking and futures thinking. So it's really helping those two come together. So you're going to explore how to create experiences and how to apply learnings from these insights to design new offerings, new business models. The course takes place online over a 3-week period with 17 hours of live instructions. And then participants will also be expected to spend some time doing project practice and homework. The Design Futures Toolkit on the next slide you'll see is 8 tools, and it covers things like creating futures worlds, scenes, scenarios, experiences, and artifacts. So I want to pause for a second and talk a bit about artifacts from the future. I'm simplifying a bit here, but these are really creative examples of objects or experiences that might exist in the future. So think about an archaeologist from today. You know, they look back and they're sort of scavenging and they find something, it tells them about the culture, something about a culture from the past. This is an archaeologist from the year 2100 looking back and trying to understand and see what they found from the year 2030. So I really love artifacts that can help people immerse themselves into the stories that you're creating and place themselves directly in the future. So who's the course for? It's for you if you're a foresight professional, a designer, an innovation strategist with some future knowledge, and you want to deepen your ability to communicate foresight through immersive, emotional, and often physical experiences. Next up is our scenario building course. Now, most foresight professionals will work with scenarios at some point in their careers because scenarios help us to imagine not just a single future world, but also multiple future worlds, right? To compare and contrast them, develop strategies for dealing with multiple paths. So since we can't know for sure what future will unfold, we become more resilient when we're prepared for more than one possibility. So that's what the scenario building class is designed to help you achieve with your work. The course is a systematic deep dive that teaches you how to develop complex scenarios using specifically the alternative future scenario framework, originally developed by Professor Emeritus Jim Dator at the University of Hawaii at Manoa. So our toolkit walks you through a really detailed process that's part analysis and part art also. Over 16 hours spread across 2 weeks, actually 3 weeks, sorry, you're going to work with a team to create a complete, what we call scenario board. So an entire sort of vision of this world that's building out. You're going to learn what questions to ask, how to apply data to a scenario, when to make that creative leap, and how to develop 4 very distinctive scenarios. So this course is for people who want to develop their own scenarios, lead scenario processes, and help stakeholders generate insight and strategy with scenarios. So this is something that is next level. You should have some foresight experience going in, and you're trying to level up. And like all of our open enrollment classes and our other classes, the scenario building class is designed to be really highly interactive. So next up, we have a small collection of what I would call general interest courses, but
actually, Sarah,
hand it over to Lynn to talk about 3 horizons of AI and dive in.
All right, sorry. And maybe when you get to talking about Coursera, you can answer Lisa's question in the chat about the difference between that class and the other classes. So this is our latest, we're kind of calling it a mini course. It is just 3 2-hour sessions over 3 weeks, but we are going to be exploring in each one starting from the present, what's happening with AI right now, and then in each of the sessions really forecasting out for the next few years, for the midterm future, 5 to 7, and then 10 years and beyond in the third course. So it's really it's a way not just understanding what generative AI is, but how can you build a strategy? How can you make sense of it? And how can we anticipate some of the longer term consequences? We're really excited about this, and it will be offered in August and also in September over a 3-week period. And that is going to be with Toshi Hu, who's the director of our Emerging Media Lab, Dylan Hendricks, myself, and a whole set of people doing deep research in AI and using IFTF's tools to really think through systematically what all of this could mean for the next decade. And back over to you, Sarah.
Yeah, thank you. And so this is, now we're switching from sort of live, live online talk classes to a different set of classes. So this one in particular, this is IFTF Futures Thinking on Coursera, and it's 5 introductory self-paced courses that actually include a whopping 45 hours of video instruction. So what this is really helping you to do is to help you understand the principles and the concepts that underpin futures thinking. You'll be exposed to content that will help you get comfortable with the methods utilized to create foresight. And so this is a specialization on Coursera, which means there's 5 different courses that add up to a specialization in futures thinking. And all of this is run by our wonderful colleague, Jane McGonigal, is the host of these courses. And we find that this is actually, just to circle back to, I believe Lisa had a question about the difference between the courses. People find we have a lot of people who take futures thinking on Coursera and also our IFTF Foresight Essentials or any of our other classes, and find it really complementary. This can sort of give you a baseline, and it's giving you a little bit of an introduction, and Foresight Essentials gives you more of that professional foresight practice angle to it. How do you bring it into your organization, your work? How do you work with groups and lead projects with this?
And I would say also kind of how do you design a professional foresight project? So I think Coursera is really focused a lot on futures thinking as a discipline in a field. And the Foresight Essentials class is helping you build your practice within an organizational context or with stakeholders, with specific stakeholders.
And heading next up. So finally, I'm going to, in terms of the individual open enrollment courses, I want to talk to, this is not a Coursera offering, but it does come from the mind of the phenomenal Jane McGonigal. This is a 90-minute session for $99. It's a fast, fun experience designed by Jane McGonigal, meant to provide just a taste of futures thinking and help learners develop creative foresight. So you're going to learn about signals and drivers and practice imagining how this world would be different 10 years from now. So it's just a quick dip into this that helps you then take action and decide, this is something I really want to dive into, or bring in other people. If you're trying to get them excited about foresight, this is a great place to start.
Great. Thank you, Sarah. So I want to talk a little bit about our trainings for teams and organizations, our custom trainings design. They really build on all of the curricula that we teach in the open enrollment classes, but they're designed specifically for your organization to help you be future ready, to help you identify challenges and opportunities, but to really help you and your team develop more strategic vision, kind of expand the horizon of strategy. We find that these kinds of courses, when people do them inside an organization, really help develop teamwork, collaborative thinking. It gives people a breathing space to think about what the future might be, which in many organizations you normally don't have time to do. And also, especially in these times of really rapid change and significant challenges when we look over the next decade, starts to build more of a sense of agency and hope. And so these are highly customized. They are based on how many learners you have, what kinds of goals you have for your learning. I mean, we could teach anything from 2 people, which we have, to 500 people, which we have. And just to give you a few examples of what we're talking about, we have our Future Back Leadership Accelerators, where we are working with learning and development leaders at organizations to deliver these kind of very intense experiences that sit at the intersection of innovation and leadership development and foresight. People are working on specific strategic initiatives and imagining the future, and also building their foresight capacity and their muscles. We also have shorter sessions, like what we call our Foresight Awareness Session, where we just, Sarah delivered one earlier this year for the UN Office of the Secretary General. And those are 90 to 120-minute sessions where we can open it up to a large group within your organization and give you a chance to focus on a specific topic, the future of whatever is going to be most relevant for you, highly interactive, and start to gauge your organization's appetite and interest in futures thinking. We also recently, done by Sarah, did introduction to foresight training for grantees at a foundation. We work with a lot of philanthropies and nonprofits. We just finished a very large sort of 6-month training for partners at a global accounting firm. Again, sort of getting a whole cohort of some of the most senior leaders in the organization much more comfortable thinking about the long-term future and more ready to have strategic, future-oriented conversations with their stakeholders and their potential clients. We also work with HR a lot, trying to help HR leaders keep up to speed with their business counterparts. So that is the Custom Foresight Essentials. And I think, there's a question in Q&A. Sorry, I haven't looked at that.
I'll
And
answer
let
the
me-
question, but maybe we could just do the recap
Yes.
right here of what we have and then
Yes.
I'll answer the question.
Sounds good. So again, this is the overview. Obviously, the custom trainings are very diverse. The individual offerings are very distinct, and you can see the different pieces there. This is the pricing. Foresight Essentials, you can see we have, for most of the classes, we have a nonprofit or public sector price versus a for-profit price. We also have early bird discounts for some of the courses when you sign up early. And our new 3 Horizons of AI class is going to be $950. The Futures Thinking on Coursera is $49 a month, or you can audit the course for free. And the custom trainings really depends on what you want. It could be, that's something we can happy to discuss with you to meet the needs. The other things that we have are a whole bunch of community resources. Perhaps you came here through one of these. Perhaps you have signed up for our Foresight Essentials newsletter, amazing monthly newsletter that gives full of all kinds of tips, and our meetups, our interviews with people, the Urgent Optimists community platform, which is $100 a year, and it is a place to go and explore future scenarios with Jane McGonigal and a bunch of IFTFers, and more importantly, over 1,000 people from around the world who are exploring all different kinds of social simulations. It's really based on Jane's book, Imaginable. So a lot of things to tap into if you are still considering whether you want to invest time and energy and money in a class with us. At least please do join us and check out all the events that we have and meet other people like yourself. IFTF.org is where you can find us, and let us go to questions. Sarah, over to you.
Yeah, actually, so the question from Pierce we have is, what resources do you offer to support student collaboration during, but also importantly, after you're done and finished with any of these courses? And so that was really a lot of the resources that were put up by Lynn just then are the resources that you're going to have access to. You have the contact information, obviously, of everybody that you did the course with, but then we also have what we call our meetups. We have monthly meetups for alumni, and people come from all around the world, get together, and it's a space to both see, we have people present how they're using the tools and the methodologies within their own organizations, and then we do breakout groups so you can connect individually and in small groups for conversations with other Foresight practitioners. Oh, excuse me. You also will have be able to join Urgent Optimists. You can do Future Buddies, where you can meet up with and connect with another Foresight practitioner with similar interests. So we have a lot of different resources that are there and available for you to continue that collaboration, because we know that taking a class is really just the beginning. It's absolutely a journey of practice and one that gets stronger the more people are involved and the more diverse voices you have there. So.
And then Timur has a great question, which I think just went to the hosts and panelists, which is, could you elaborate a bit on the artifacts? What could that be, for example, when working with the UN? And artifacts from the future, sorry, we they're very visual often, and they're often images depicting an object or something in the environment that you would interact with in the future. So they're a way to bring the future to life in a very tangible, visible, experiential way. They could even be actual products. For example, we often design like a box from a product from the future, or just have an image of a product from the future. So for the UN, it would be, it could be anything related to the future of development or the future of international NGOs, multilateral NGOs, and so many different topics. Generally, artifacts are designed to help bring specific futures to life. So after you've done some research, you've already prepared your evidence and you've developed your foresight, and then you want to sort of apply what you've learned in a way that brings it to life in a very surprising, experiential way. And Sarah, we have another question about the kind of futures trends research. Do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so IFTF Foresight Essentials is really our arm where we're bringing the tools and methodologies of foresight that we've been using at Institute for the Future for over 55 years to individuals, to organizations, so they can start building up their ability to do their own futures research. We also have at IFTF people who are working full-time on developing futures research on things that are as diverse as we have our group of our IFTF Future for Good fellows actually in our office today, and they're looking at the future of equitable enterprise. So trying to understand how business and business models might change in the future in the United States. We have people who are working on things like the future of food. We have people working on the future of learning. We have these wonderful, and actually, if you're interested, we have what we call our 10-year forecast webinars, events that are mini conferences where we get together. It's 2.5, 3 hours long and discuss different topics. It's open for the public to see, and you can see a little bit about a topic that we're looking at. We just did one on the future of learning. I believe our next one coming up is going to be on work. And yeah, I got a nod from Lynn. So, and that's a great way, but we have so much online and available for free on our website. Please go to iftf.org. And you can see just such a wide range of different pieces and articles and research that we've done.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. And we're here to stay for another few minutes. If anyone has additional questions, please do join us at iftfforesight.essentials.org. And we've got, as I said, so many different amazing talks coming up. Even next week, we have 2 great talks coming up. We have people in every sector, and you'll be able to hear the practical ways that they're applying futures thinking and foresight. So you can find it at events. If you go onto our website and look at the events, you'll see all kinds of things there. Thank you so much for joining us today, and hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you, everyone.